If you want to level up your life and unlock the hottest, highest, and healthiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. If you are new here, my name is Brianna Gomez, and I am your host of Hot and Unbothered, the ultimate podcast for the aspiring it girls out there. If you clicked on this episode, you're here for a reason. This found you for a reason, whether you're a subscriber, a follower, whether you've never seen my face before or heard my voice in your life. You are here for a reason. There's a reason why you felt called and inclined to click on this video, and it's because you're ready to level up your life to its highest potential and fulfill those goals and dreams on your vision board or in your mind that you have for yourself. We're here to do that today. But before we dive into today's episode, you guys know I love to share a podcast review. Okay, I just recorded this entire episode and then the whole thing wasn't recording actually on my microphone. So that's the millionth time that's happened to me, but it's fine. Anyway, today we have Juana. She said, "You don't actually know how incredibly helpful you are. You made me start my glow up journey and you've taught me so many things that I literally kind of owe you my social and academic life. I'm so proud of you for making the effort of recording all of these amazing episodes. By the way, your clothing line is super cute. If you guys don't know, I actually have a clothing line of my own. It's all sustainably made and you guys need to get it while you can because it's not going to be out much longer. It's limited edition. It's these super cute little mini skirts with bows and lace and built-in shorts, of course, because they're so comfortable. There's also a halter top and it's kind of customizable, so you could tie it around like a little scarf or with a big bow in the back, and super comfortable, super cute, and again, all sustainable. So okay, I know it's insane that we're approaching the end of the year, which is wild to think about. I think this year absolutely flew by. So the fact that it's the end of October and by the time you're listening to this, it could be November, December, it could be 2025, which is wild. I think it's very easy to feel a little bit discouraged or upset, especially if you're like me and maybe you had these large grand scale goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year that maybe have not come into reality yet. It's totally okay. I want you guys to not be too hard on yourself because it's very easy for at the beginning of the year to get really excited and have all these different goals that you want to set for yourself. And then the end of the year comes and you find yourself stuck in the same place. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how you can still reinvent yourself on any day. It doesn't have to be just the end of the year for New Year's. It can literally be now. We definitely see it the most commonly for New Year's with the resolutions and everything, but you can literally do it any day, anytime. You can show up as whoever you want to be, whenever you want to be them, however you want to be it. So today I'll be going over a few different aspects of reinvention. I'm going to teach you exactly how you can reinvent yourself with so many different ways on how to do it, but I'm more importantly going to break down the most common factors that play into holding us back from achieving our dream lives and going for this whole reinvention of ourselves, because it can be a scary thing, but I'm going to talk about why we often do get stuck and feel stuck and how to kind of counteract that and move forward with reinventing yourself to become the hottest, highest version of you. I'm going to explain the reasoning for this later, but the first thing I want you guys to do is think to yourself, get a journal out or a pen and paper or write it in your notes app. What things do you actually like about your current situation? This could be who you are at your core, your personality, your traits, or where you are at career-wise, financially, location-wise, literally anything and everything about your life. I want you to break it down, write down the things that you like and are quite satisfied with in your current situation. If everything were to stay the same, which things would you want to keep? And then on the other side, I want you guys to write down the things that you're feeling the most dissatisfied with. You know, you don't have to dive too much into the negativity if you don't want to, but overall, just make a list of things that you are feeling not the best about, things that you would like to change. And it's okay to admit that you want change. So some people, it's easy to admit that things need to change. Other people, it's kind of hard for them to come to that realization. So I want you guys to think deeper. You know, if I had to think of things I liked about my current situation, I would say I love that I get the opportunity to be creative with you guys. I love that I have a platform that I can share with people and motivate them and feel like I'm helping and doing some good for my audience, right? I love that. I would never change that for the world, and I want to keep that. Something that I would maybe want to change about myself is I do think I lack discipline. I think I don't have the best time management sometimes, and that, kind of does affect my work. Because imagine if I were to change those things, right? I would be unstoppable, because you have your creative drive, and then you also have your motivation and discipline, and you're super on top of it and productive. That is the ideal thing. So write down the things you're satisfied with in your current situation. And then on the other side, you want to write down the things that you're not feeling quite fulfilled by, okay? And I want you guys to really dig into what's dissatisfying you. You might have to do a lot of self-reflection. You might have to reflect on your relationships with other people, anything that's holding you back. Anything on that other side of things that are dissatisfying you most likely are ultimately going to need to change. If you want to reinvent yourself to level up and become the highest version of yourself, those things need to change. So whether or not you want to hear it, whether or not those people who you wrote on that side want to hear it, it's the facts, because we cannot move forward if we're holding on to things that are not serving our best interest possible. But I think the most common mistake that we see in people is when we first enter a situation and we're uncomfortable with it. Say you first get a job at a restaurant, right? And you don't want to be in the restaurant industry ultimately, but that's just kind of a little side hustle you're taking, and it's temporary, which is totally fine. So much respect for people who work in food. And maybe your ultimate goal, though, is to be a singer, right? And of course, working at this restaurant job, you're not going off and being a singer or working for a record label, which is totally fine, right? But then you have this restaurant job. You hate your job. You hate your boss. You hate your coworkers. You hate the customers. They're rude. They don't pay you well. You hate the tasks that you have to fulfill. You're so unhappy when you first get to this job, but you're telling yourself, like, oh, it's temporary. Next thing you know, you've been in this job for 2 years. Because what happens when we're uncomfortable but we stay is we get stuck because we become comfortable with the feeling of being uncomfortable. I know it sounds like such a triple negative, but it's so true that if you keep yourself in a situation that's not serving you, you become used to it still. It doesn't matter. It's called habitualization. We are such creatures of habit that if we stay in an environment for so long, good or bad, we will get used to it and we will learn how to survive in it. But surviving is not thriving. And I want you guys to get that through your heads. Comfortable does not always mean what's best. Comfortable can mean safe, but it can also mean complacent. It can also mean settling. So whatever situation you're in right now, if you are feeling feelings of dissatisfaction or complacency or sadness or loneliness or boredom, that is quite literally your body and your mind telling you, hey, I'm meant for more. Don't forget about me. I'm ready to move on to the next chapter. And in life, we go through so many different eras. We as humans experience so many different seasons of life. I feel like people forget that we were once babies, right? Imagine if we were the exact same person we were from the day we came out of the womb to now. That's not meant to happen. And I think that's the perfect example that change is necessary. And if I use myself as an example, I started out, as a super beachy girl. I had a super beachy visco girl phase when I was like 14. And then I became your classic stereotypical cheerleader, dating football player. And I thought I was going to go off and join a sorority and go to university for 4 years, do all these extracurriculars, which there's nothing wrong with any of these things. I'm just giving examples of how much I've changed. Because then from that, I switched to colorful pink and red hair girl. And then I had a super edgy, crazy party girl phase that I call my feral era because we don't speak of her. And then I somehow ended up here, right? Because I looked at my life, for example, when I was in my feral era, and at the time I thought I was doing something fun. When I first started, I thought I was, going out partying every night, and I didn't have a job. I was just doing social media, but then I became too comfortable doing social media that I had no structure in my life, no discipline, was not taking care of myself, was not living my best life. I was not respecting myself. I was coming across as confident. Sure, there are still things that maybe we can keep from these different eras of our life, but the way that I treated myself, my day-to-day activities, never want to be that girl again, quite frankly, right? But in the moment, I was so scared to take a leap of faith in trying something new because I had gotten so comfortable with the person I had become. Because being lazy and being comfortable, that's easy. That's not a challenge. It takes no effort to stay in one place, right? But we're not meant to be stagnant. And that's why when you're in the same place for so long, you start getting this underlying feeling that you're meant for something more. Or maybe I become so fed up with myself that I didn't even like the person that I saw when I looked in the mirror. Not even just physically, but I would think of the things that I did and the way I was acting and how I was treating myself. And I was like, that's not even me anymore. I look at pictures of myself from that time and I'm like, I don't even recognize her. And it's so scary, right? To make a change because everyone knows you as that girl who does that one thing. For example, even when I wanted to dye my hair from red to black, okay? I had been the colorful hair girl, pink hair, red hair girl, pink hair, red hair girl for years and years, and that had become my trademark. And that's how people recognized me on the streets. And that was my thing, my hair, right? And my style. And in my social life, my thing was going out and partying, and it was so scary for me when I wanted to start making different content. When maybe I didn't want to make fashion videos anymore, I wanted to start making self-help podcasts. When I wanted to mature and grow in a healthier direction, I was scared to do that for myself because I was so afraid of what other people would think. And that is another huge contributing factor to us not moving forward with our reinvention to upgrade to the highest level of ourselves. So when we hold on to this fear of outside judgment, of course change is scary, but it's also so necessary. And anyone in life who is judging you for becoming the best version of yourself, that's not your friend. I don't know who they are, I don't know why they're in your life, but that's not your friend. And of course, it's so scary to think of people watching you do something new. But again, that is the biggest injustice you can do yourself. And let me tell you actually this quote from Tony Robbins, I believe, and it just completely altered the way my brain thinks. The biggest injustice that humans experience on a daily basis is the need to remain consistent with how they identify themselves. Think that to yourself again. The biggest injustice that humans experience on a day-to-day basis is the need to remain consistent with how they identify themselves. Or I guess the feeling that they need to remain consistent with how they identify themselves. Because I feel like we all trap ourselves in this box. Imagine if you had a piece of paper, physically or imaginary, and I ask you to draw a box showing what you think your potential is for your career, for your life, for your anything. Your box should not even fit on that piece of paper because it's truly so limitless. Your potential is limitless. There are no bounds to this life because we can do and be quite literally anything and everything that we want to be. But I feel like some people, based on their perspective, they draw a small box for themselves when quite literally there is none. You and your limits and your ambitions cannot be confined. But for some reason, we have these self-limiting beliefs either instilled by family or ourselves or friends or strangers, and we let those stop us. And that's when we become afraid to change or to take a leap of faith. And another contributing factor that plays into us not reinventing ourselves is the fear of change and taking a risk. Especially when you're looking around and maybe in your family, your mom's an accountant and your dad's an accountant, and so you feel this need, oh, I need to go be an accountant. You know, like that's my future. I need to do that because this person said so, and you're silencing that deep down dream and wish of yours to be a famous actress, to be a teacher, to be a podcaster. You know, you're silencing that drive and hunger inside you and the need and feeling of wanting to be more. But you're silencing it at the expense of other people, at the expense of not stepping outside of your comfort zone. Boring. Again, it's easy to be stagnant. It's easy to be comfortable, but easy doesn't always mean better. I think in life, we're meant to step out of our comfort zone. We're meant to challenge ourselves, and we're meant to grow and go with where the wind takes us. Because if you are resisting change, literally everything around you will burn into flames. I heard this thing one time that when we're resisting change from the universe, you know, you're like a stick in the mud and the wind is trying to blow you one direction and you're just like literally trying so hard, gripping on for dear life to not go anywhere. But who knows where the wind is trying to take you. And when you're quite literally preventing the flow of life, the universe and God will remove or like make a mess out of all the things around you. So maybe you're in a season of life where you are feeling like everything is just burning down into flames. Your boyfriend broke up with you, you're having friend issues, family issues, you lost your job. That is the universe trying to give you a push in the right direction because you're not doing it yourself. So try and have a healthier perspective of if things are changing, let them. Because whatever is meant for you is never going to pass you by. And so I feel like we have these fears of letting go or accepting change because we're scared that we're not able to go back on these things. But if something's truly meant for you, it will come back to you. It will move forward with you. So you don't have to be so afraid and like the stick in the mud. You have to detach. Law of detachment is huge when it comes to reinventing yourself. I think the biggest setback in life is holding on to things that are no longer serving you. So whatever's on that list of things that you're dissatisfied with, I want you to reevaluate your relationship and connection and attachment to those things because maybe at one point they were doing you some good, but are they still? And it's completely okay to outgrow people and things and even styles and hobbies. Maybe growing up, tennis was always your thing and you thought you were going to be a pro tennis star, right? If you are having this feeling that you're not happy with tennis anymore, and I know this is such like surface level example, but if you're having this feeling, right? And you're like, maybe this isn't it for me. Maybe I don't want to go pro. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not enjoying it in the same way I was. If you stop playing tennis now, that's not going to take away from the years of experience and skill that you had. That's not going to take away your trophies and make them disappear. That's not going to wipe the memory. Even like you can still pick up a racket years from now if you wanted to and still have that muscle memory. But if it's not the time, it's not the time. And if it's meant to be in your life, it will be. And I feel like we see this in toxic relationships, right? The habitualization of if we're uncomfortable in a toxic relationship, someone can be treating us so badly. But if we're used to it and we're comfortable and we're afraid to step away and make the change because we're afraid of what our life will look like without this thing, we'll never know. And that's how you get stuck in a toxic relationship. That's how you become overly codependent on something because you're clinging onto it for dear life when it's not meant for you. And while it can be so scary, I want to remind you guys that right now is the youngest and hottest and freest you will ever be. Right now in this moment. And I know that my audience, I would say, is a range of like young tween teen girls up until probably like 30s, right? If there's anyone older than 30s, let me know because I actually don't know what the age range is above that. But all of us, we are beautiful young women. The world is literally our oyster. The world is in the palm of our hands. We can do anything. We can show up as whoever we want to be. If I wanted to, tomorrow, I could completely reinvent myself. I could delete all my Instagram pictures. I could throw away all my pink. I could become literally a different person if I wanted to, just to show you the scale of which it's quite possible to reinvent yourself completely. And I'm not saying you need to reinvent yourself so drastically, but even the minor things. Even if you're like, you know what, I want to become a clean girl and I want to be one of those girls who loves herself, or I want to be one of those girls who wakes up early and has a morning routine and is super organized and productive and on top of things, you could reinvent yourself to be someone like that too. There are no bounds to which you can reinvent yourself, and you can do it as many times as you want. You could literally show up as the dream version of yourself tomorrow if you wanted to. But right now is quite literally our prime time to reinvent ourselves because we are so young and we're so powerful and we're so capable and our minds are so creative where we can let them take us wherever we want to go. There's no limit to how many hobbies or styles you can try. There's no limit to how many ambitions you can have, and that's the beautiful part of life. I think we are meant to try so many different things. There's so many different walks of life and paths that you can take, and that's the beauty of it, is you don't have to pick just one because every single version of yourself that you're going to meet along the way is contributing and adding up to create the beautiful person that you're going to become at the end of it all. And again, think of Barbie, right? Barbie she has lifeguard Barbie, she has astronaut Barbie, princess Barbie, whatever, all the different kinds of Barbies. Because she can be whoever she wants to be every single day. And she's still Barbie, right? But she knows how to show up as different people. And there's no limit to her different activities she wants to try and who she wants to be, because we get to make that choice every single day. So stop limiting yourself, stop being a stick in the mud, and let yourself go where your heart and soul wants to take you. And if something is not fueling your soul, if something is not feeding you and driving you and motivating you and making you feel fulfilled, then maybe it's not for you, and it's okay if you want to stray away from that. The first step of this is to break the cycle, okay? Because if you're living the same day over and over and over again, if you're waking up and you're doing the same routine every day, and you're going to work at your miserable job that you don't like with your miserable boss and the coworkers that you hate, and you come home and you go to sleep and then you wake up the next day and do it all again, how are you happy? You are meant for so much more than that. And you should be excited every day when you wake up. If you don't wake up and feel like you are feeding your soul, you're doing something wrong. In order for us to have control over this, we have to release control over the things that are holding us back. Again, this ties into law of detachment. Any people who aren't supporting your change, any factors in life that are making you feel like you can't do it and that you're limiting yourself, you need to release those. Again, whatever is meant for us in life will never pass us. So it's okay to let go of things, even if it's scary. If it's really meant for you, it will come back. And if it wasn't meant for you, it was a great lesson along the way. So don't be afraid to let go of things. Also, what I want you guys to do is visualize, visualize, visualize. Visualization is so crucial. It is the most important component when it comes to reinvention, because you have to have some sense of where you're going. Maybe you visualize often, maybe you don't. I love Pinterest for visualization. I don't know what it is. It's just like so easy and convenient to make tons of different mood boards, and you can go broad or you can go specific. Like I have boards for my style. I have ones for my aesthetic. I have ones for my makeup, for what I want my dream house to look like, my wedding, my kids, my backyard, literally everything. So I think the more specific you can get with visualization, the better. So really take a day to take the time, gather inspiration, maybe from movies or characters you like, maybe from your favorite artists or icons or anyone, or just random people on Pinterest. Inspiration is quite literally all around us. You can gather it from magazines, again, TV shows, movies, anything. But find out the things you like, different aspects of life or mood boards or vision boards that you see along the way. Take your favorite things from all those and create your own mood board that is quite literally the embodiment or visualization of who you are at the core. Because at the end of the day, I think that you will be the happiest when you are just filling yourself with joy and things that inspire you. So gathering inspiration from mood boards is so beneficial. It's so beneficial. You never hear anyone say, oh, I wish I didn't make a mood board. They're so fun. You could make this mood board as your lock screen. You could make a physical mood board and put it somewhere that you look at every single day. But just remind yourself of what the end goal is and who you are at the core too. Like if you see something and you're like, that's so me, and I love that about me, even if it's a picture of yourself, embrace that. Embrace that, because you need to be reminded of who you are and who you want to be, and not what other people want from you. I need you guys to shut out the outside noise and just focus on the ideal version of yourself and the end goal that you have for yourself and move in that direction. The most crucial part of reinvention is that it requires picking out the end goal, picking out the direction, at least, that you want to head in, and pursuing that actively, okay? You can't just be blindly moving through life, because that's when we get stuck in cycles. That's when we remain stagnant, is if we don't really know where we're going and we're in no rush to get there. There's no rush. Like, baby steps are still steps as long as you're moving in the right direction. I think accountability is a huge one. Keeping yourself accountable and investing in change is huge. So whether for you that's buying a gym membership, whether that's investing in some classes or some books or therapy or something. I don't know what your end goal is for reinvention. Maybe you want to be super healed. Maybe you want to be super zen. You want to be super active. Whatever this version of yourself is, invest in it. And if it's something that is helping you become the person you want to be, it's okay to spend a little money on it or save up for it. You know, if you want to be a vlogger, but you haven't posted a single vlog, maybe at least start saving up for a camera. little baby steps to get there. And I said this in my last episode, I believe, but just doing something every single day that's going to get you to your end goal, or at least one step closer to the end goal, and do something every day that you know your future self will thank you for. Because at the end of the day, everything we're doing right now is for our future self. Even if it's not right in front of your face, like so close you can almost taste it type thing, you can still move towards that direction. Baby steps are so powerful and so important. So I don't want you guys to forget that. Baby steps are still steps. You just have to have the end goal. And that's why visualization is so powerful, and just head in that direction actively. And I think the reason why I feel like kind of investing in something that's going to help motivate you to change is because if you spend a little bit of money or time or effort on it, it's going to keep you accountable. Also, it's very important to add aspects of excitement and adventure into your life, because again, when we're stagnant like that, we become so bored and complacent, but we also get used to it. And sometimes if we don't have excitement or change, we mistake this boredom for comfortability, and that's what holds us back from our dream life. Your comfortability is quite literally holding you back from your dream life. And is that worth it? Is being comfortable worth the expense of not living your dream life when you can be living it right now? Anything that you can see in your mind, you can quite literally hold in your hands. So I want you guys to get that idea out of your head that these goals are so far away. They're literally right in front of you. You just have to move towards them and be open to receiving them. Reinvention also requires a really good cleanse, right? So I want you guys to go through, deep clean everything, Marie Kondo that, like get rid of anything in your life that is not sparking joy. If you don't know Marie Kondo, she has people, like when they're cleaning out their closet, for example, pick it up, each item individually, or try it on, hold it in their hand, and ask if it's sparking joy or not. And if the answer is no, you get rid of it. You don't like just throw it away, but you can donate it or whatever. And that is so powerful. And I think that applies for everything in life. Again, if it's not sparking joy, if it's not serving your greatest interest, why do we cling on to it so tightly, you know? So do this with your room, do this with your phone, do a good phone clean out, phone reset, do this with people in your life. Oops, yeah, I hate to say it. You got to get rid of the toxic people. I'm sorry. With your style, again, I think reinvention really does start with style too. Like if something doesn't feel like you, it's kind of like you're putting on a mask almost, or you're trying to fit into a shoe that actually doesn't fit. And this goes for physically things like clothes that don't feel like you, or again, if it's a certain activity or job or anything that you're following that just doesn't feel like it's you and you're doing it for someone else or for a previous version of yourself, it's okay to outgrow that. Outgrowing people and things is so normal. Like we get different tastes, we get different styles, we go through, again, so many different walks of life. How can you expect yourself to remain the same 24/7? That's not how it works. Again, so cleansing is a great way to start. I think also doing a really good reflection journal entry on the person who you were opposed to the person you want to become is huge, and it's very powerful. And kind of being able to write down, everything you learned in this chapter of your life as this current era or version of you. It's kind of like not really a goodbye because that person still exists, but almost like releasing attachment to the things that were holding you back and being able to move forward and look in hopeful lenses into the future, in the person you want to become, and the things you hope to achieve, and the things you hope to learn. That is such a positive way of thinking. Again, your room, clutter is my vice. I have a lot of things, and I just want to kind of try and minimalize, and again, only hold on to things that spark joy, but just cleaning your space, staying organized. I don't know what kind of person you're trying to reinvent yourself as, but I think we could all use some more organization. Like I want to be that girl who is totally planned out. I want to have my planner. I want to have everything organized with little compartments and containers and know exactly where everything goes. Like I just want everything in my life to finally feel in place. And I think that that is super duper powerful as well. And I know that makes a huge difference. It might not feel like it, but I promise, just like having a clean environment, we truly are projections of our environment. So if you are just like clean girl, organized, you know where everything goes, you're just so much more on top of it. You're so much more productive and just appear to be put together. And I feel like it's so much easier to have your thoughts and priorities in order if you're organized. So I think organization, clutter, all of that plays a huge role in your reinvention. And again, only keeping things around that are inspiring you or motivating you. And I think this can go with the way you decorate your room. I think it goes with the type of music you listen to. The type of music you listen to literally affects who you are at your core, because scientifically, like if you're listening to sad music, your mood's gonna get sad, which I have no issue with some good T Swift now and then. But you know, if you're listening to super, super sad music, you're gonna feel sad. But if you're listening to upbeat, happy music all the time, you're gonna feel so happy. Or if you wanna be a more educated person and you spend your time listening to podcasts or reading books, of course you're gonna become more educated because you're learning in your free time. I think something that also really helps is creating a motto or a mantra for yourself that is your overall theme of reinvention. So maybe your theme's gonna be discipline, right? So that way, anytime you find yourself kind of straying from the course of things, you remind yourself, okay, discipline. Or maybe it's consistency. Or maybe it's the motto, let it. You know, I love that motto, let it. If something comes, let it. If something goes, let it. And you can remind yourself with that mantra throughout all the different stages you are in this new era of life to remind yourself the kind of person that you want to be. Or maybe your goal is to be super positive. So anytime you find yourself being down, you can remind yourself that you're trying to be a more positive person. Just having some sort of mindset or mantra to kind of keep you on top of things. But overall, you guys, you get to decide who you want to be. Don't give in to the fear of judgment from outside factors, because at the end of the day, it's about you. This is your life. It's about you. You're the star, okay? So don't let anyone tell you who to be or how to live your life. At the end of the day, it's all yours, and you get to decide who you show up as each day. So make sure to make it count. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. Don't forget to follow the podcast at Hot Unbothered on TikTok and Instagram, and my personal socials at Brianna Gomez with 2 B's on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you next Bri-day. Bye. Mwah.